Most of the time.
But you don't smoke a lot, right?
Nah.
Do you smoke a lot?
No.
Not at all?
Sometimes I do, but not all the time.
Nah, you never.
Hello and welcome back to Wish for Death Island Population Me, and if you didn't hear the good news, it seems a certain CW show that I really hate finally got cancelled. Who would have thunk it? No, seriously though, they must be doing something weird in the back end of that company because it seems like no one likes the shows. The only people who even watch them are the people who react to it and milk them for content like I do. They don't make any money, but they're still around and I don't know how that works. Regardless, what we're gonna be doing is the final episodes that I have not reacted to because I gotta finish what I started. This is the monster that I helped create, isn't it? I have 9 episodes left to cover and this video is going to be the first 3 of those because like with my last video about Harry Potter, I stopped it just before a certain segment to kind of make it neater. Like the last video I stopped before the Triwizard Tournament began because I felt like that was a good place to neatly end it for the next section without being too confusing. With this one there's a particular arc that goes on for the last 6 episodes, so I wanted to keep that in its own thing for next video, which shouldn't be too long anyway. This one is just going to be those 3 in the middle that kind of help establish what's going to happen in those last ones. But there's still lots of trash, so don't worry. So I'm gonna get to it without further ado. Episode 5 opens with Alice and Black Lightning watching some stupid classic horror movie to avoid copyright while they're being scared at it because they needed to be scared at a horror movie but needed to avoid copyright.
No, I don't. I'm a military-trained babysitter.
This is comedy. But we find out that she is keeping Alice on her meds and all that stuff to stop her from hallucinating like the last time. And I guess what helps her stop hallucinating is watching horror movies that Alice is really scared of for some reason. But someone's on the balcony, so they're trying to be all cute with the wine bottle squabbling like a bunch of stupid city women. And then, no surprise, Batwoman's the one on the balcony, because who the fuck else wants to visit you two idiots? She wants Alice to come with her because the detective lady from the last time wants them to keep hunting down weapons together because Batman's little weapon archive of all the villains' weapons in Gotham got stolen, so they have to try and figure out and track down where all the weapons went, and people are using them for murders, so that's a thing that's been happening. There's some dead guy who partied a little bit too hard and apparently died because of Catwoman's bullwhip, which is on the black market now. They think that the whip was used in this murder, however Alice makes some pop culture references and takes the longest route of trying to explain that it is a bootleg whip and they still don't have the real one yet. She also doesn't want to be doing this because she likes watching horror movies now, that's her latest thing. Apparently Catwoman had a thing with Bruce and she stole some of his tech to make her whip stronger and extra special. I don't know anything about comic book lore, so whatever, I'm not gonna comment on that, but I just gotta ask, is this even gonna go anywhere? If it's gonna go somewhere in season 4, that's not really happening, is it? Ryan makes Alice go find where the killer is because she needs to talk to her mom about family drama. Her mom is this annoying rich Karen who, there's a lot of boring stock market shit going on. Apparently Wayne Industries is in the red for the first time ever. I'm gonna skip a lot of this sort of stuff, because it's like, there's 2 types of bad with this kind of series. There's like bad in a silly way that's fun to talk about, and then there's bad as in it's so boring and irrelevant that I skip over it. I mentioned this in one of the other review episodes I did of this, but for all of the funny shit that's in this series, I have to cut out so much bad padding of the episodes and like stupid funny drama, like a sitcom level drama, and it's just not worth it. But I do have some things to bring up about the stock market. The company is in the red for the first time, and that includes, if you remember in season 1, when Kate was buying real estate and then selling it for cheap because of some weird thing about how rent needs to be cheaper for vulnerable people, even though like she didn't know anything about how the fucking housing market worked whatsoever because she's some rich bitch. And apparently that didn't make any of Bruce's stock and funds go into the red, even though she was spending without any profit. Lord knows where the fuck they're getting the money from as well, because they don't really do anything outside of gallivant around around pretending that they're superheroes, using stolen shit from better superheroes who are just out of the picture right now conveniently. So where the fuck does she get money from? Because she doesn't know how the fuck any of that shit works. It's like if you made me CEO of something, that company would tank because I don't have any idea what the fuck's going on. I can't run Amazon. I don't know what. Like, where does she have the qualification for this? Unless Luke has been doing it this entire time and she's just taking credit because, like, Luke's a man or whatever. I don't. Asian comes in and she's really mad because Karen gave them an invitation to a dinner party and she doesn't want to go. Ryan is like, well, I have to go because of family drama. And they talk about that for a while. But Alice had found a connection to what Karen's being up to and some of the shady murders and whatnot that are going on, so they have to go to the dinner party for the plot as well. Asian is a bit out of it too because she got attacked by vines. If you haven't seen the last episode of this, I don't know how to explain what's going on. So she gets way too into drinking water and there's some shit about, like, I don't know, she looks like she's like constipated when the thing starts happening to her. But they want to find something on the Karen lady to basically blackmail her because they don't know if she's going to try and run Wayne Industries into the ground. They don't know if she's like a big evil or whatever. They just don't like her. Introducing Black Lightning going on a date with Ryan to pretend to be girlfriends, and they'll probably end up being real girlfriends because that's how romance works in this show, I guess. They're obviously setting that up. Then Alice and her bicker because comedy. The agent lady, Renee, contacts her as well because plot reasons. Tweedledee and Tweedledummer go into the house and they're being intimidated by the luxury and the staff. This is very evident that this is happening. This is what rich people do. It makes total sense. I can understand what's happening here. Even in a show as bad as this, I can understand what's going on. But Black Lightning decides that the audience is too stupid to understand and just explains it, like J.K. Rowling did in the last video that I did.
That's the point. This is an intimidation move to get in your head. Make you think you have nothing and she's got everything.
It shouldn't be too hard considering my last address is my license plate.
She also mentions that Ryan's her girlfriend because of, you know, romance that won't develop in the next season. They're gonna fuck later, just no one's surprised, so I'll spoil that. So they cut to this fucking crazy chef man who's got like the meth shakes while he's trying to cut the vegetables. The pre-cut vegetables that he's obviously not cutting because he's got the meth shakes. He is mad. He's like machine for pigs bullshit right now. Don't cut that off, you just prepped it, you idiot.
Hey Luigi, it's me, your brother, Mario.
Hey Mario, what kind of advice do you have for us today?
Don't forget to wash your foreskin, Luigi. That's right. All kinds of stuff can get in there. Jelly beans, lint, pasta fazool. Wash it out as
Professor to teach the class how to squeal.
So the two of them continue to fake a story about how they met and it starts forming into like a real conversation. Honestly, I'm not adverse to this kind of trope. I don't really watch a lot of romance type stuff. I find that kind of boring, but if it's put into other things, then I can enjoy it as long as it's like cheesy romantic shit. I mean, you know, whatever. Ryan and the mom then get some alone time and they start quipping at each other immediately, which is just, I hate it when things like this, where they just quip at each other over and over again, because it's like nothing is serious. They're both just trying to get one-liners at each other and there's no vulnerability, there's nothing. It's just like, oh, let me see how suave I can look when I'm trying to talk to you and how many comebacks and witty jokes I can make about you, even though this is supposed to be like some heated family drama thing. That's the same reason why I don't like a lot of those superhero movies. Like I said, it's just not my kind of genre. I haven't seen any of the Avengers movies, so I know that some of those are very good. I've heard that they're very good, and I'm not saying that the entire genre is bad at all. Like, I think a lot of them just seem like the same thing. As soon as I see that quippy kind of humor, I'm kind of out because it just annoys me a bit. And then the brother, Marcus, suddenly just shows the fuck up because apparently he wasn't invited and he got told by someone else that there was a dinner party going on and now he's offended that he wasn't invited. He's such an overactor, man. He's set up to be the seasoned villain as well, but his acting is just, oh, fuck off, please. This lady looks so awkward.
Where's my man Damien? You never know what kind of psycho might come waltzing into this place. Heard there was a family dinner.
So Black Lightning meanwhile is snooping around because their plan, remember, is to find some things to blackmail Karen on. They haven't really done any thinking about this whatsoever. There's obviously going to be secret cameras everywhere because this is a rich person's house. They probably have their own secret, like, system for cameras and whatnot that Wayne Industries probably doesn't even know about because they usually know about all the cameras everywhere, but they haven't addressed any of that. She's just kind of snooping around, clear as day, in the place where apparently the most important documents are, and there's no cameras whatsoever. There's no way to tip off that there's somebody in the room. She just assumes that she's fine doing this. Even when her device cuts out, she's like, oh, whatever. She sets up the bug and then she's supposed to leave, but then she realizes that there's like a dad that wasn't mentioned in the family and something happened to him. And then obviously Karen finds out where she is and sees her. Did you not even think that there would be some sort of security system going on? You're supposed to be like a military thing. You're supposed to be a Fed. Why did you not think of any of this? This is a rich person's house. But back at the table, the brother is obviously angry because this entire family hates each other. Meanwhile, Alice is trying to figure out what that whip thing is all about. I don't really care because there's just so much quipping in this season, I'm just gonna skip it. Though I do find it interesting that she knows really basic things that any of the cops in the area would know about these villains, yet they need her to point out these really basic things. She does absolutely nothing for the entire series, like besides make me question why the detective even has a job as a detective, because these are really basic traits that apparently she doesn't know, even though they're written right in the fucking files that she gives Alice. Alice does absolutely nothing besides point out the obvious and makes me question why these people have jobs. She just finds a massive file about Poison Ivy and then talks about like, oh, you're in love with Poison Ivy, aren't? And then the big reveal is that she is. The Karen mum got her chef straight from a celebrity place because she's rich. They have this really gross plastic pig on the table and no one wants to touch it because Ryan, of course, is an obnoxious vegan and everyone else just doesn't want to eat it. This weird lady is also doing a paper on modern family dynamics and immediately brings up all of their drama like it's any of her business as a guest to this family dinner.
You're the estranged daughter who just recently bonded with your brother? But that's bad because he has a codependent relationship with his mother.
What is tact? Where did you find this woman? The Big Bang Theory cast? She goes to the bathroom while the family argue. They blame the drama on the mum not telling everyone what's going on in the family, and they act like no one knows who invited each other, so they start arguing and distrust each other. She also brings up Black Lightning being in the study, and Ryan then grandstands about how she's better than the mum because of love and friendship or some shit.
Wine and family drama do not mix. Okay. Why can't I feel anything?
The psycho lady is talking to herself in the bathroom because the audience needs to know that she can't feel her hands because she's talking to herself, and then she gets killed by the man in the pig mask. The pig man then appears without any blood on him whatsoever in the living room and says that he put a paralytic in the wine because he wants the rich bitch to watch her entire family die. She had fired him years ago, so he took on a different name because he basically got blacklisted from the industry once a rich person had fired him, and he says that his entire family fell apart and divorced him and blah 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 blah. He goes off on this really terribly delivered monologue.
Good for you.
What'd you bring me?
Hey guys, no more money's coming in for a while. Boss lady hates daddy's cooking, so now nobody wants to hire him anymore.
And then Marcus opens his big mouth. Again, he's the big villain of the series, and they're wasting no time in him suddenly being a psycho that wasn't really evident beforehand. And then he like tries to antagonize everyone. It's like, alright, I get it, he's a psycho. Ryan then stabs the pig man with a knife and they try to move around to get out of there. Apparently he had locked them in from the outside. This house has like a bunker panic room with a bunch of stuff. Like, do you not have like a bunch of controls for the house? Unlock the doors if you were locked inside? I am finding this really hard to believe. And there's no phone service either because he cut that.
Professor Pig, nobody likes an uninvited guest. I'll huff, I'll puff, and burn your house down.
He's really going for it. This guy is having too much fun. Marcus is also the most fucked up. He's been having seizures and stuff. He got white girl wasted on that Chardonnay. So they go into a secret bunker and they have cameras on, so they're all just kind of stuck there watching him rampage around the house. It's a converted closet as a panic room, and the mom doesn't believe in guns, so there's no weapons in there because she's stupid. There is barely any type of medicine in there whatsoever as well. Like, as soon as they mention, we need to just wait it out, otherwise, like, there's no reason for us to go back out there, and then he immediately starts having a seizure. You're not even gonna wait a bit, he just suddenly has a seizure. The timing of the show is so crazy, it's like comically fast. It's just funny. So when Renee met Poison Ivy, they fucked in college and she got mutated by some professor who turned her into a plant sim, and they keep their relationship a secret because a cop dating Poison Ivy is weird, but then she started changing because she turned into like a psycho because she's a plant sim now. Batman buried Poison Ivy under Gotham because Renee wanted to keep her like in a not dead, not alive kind of state to stop her from killing people. Then Alice starts hallucinating and it cuts off the conversation. It's only a matter of time before everyone in this bunker dies from a seizure, so they gotta go and find some EpiPens and shit like that, which conveniently is not in the bunker because why on earth would you put medicine in a panic room? I don't know. They have to go down to the basement because this woman is the worst panic room designer in the history of panic room designers. The pig guy is then making a bomb in the kitchen, so they gotta hurry up. They cause a distraction and Ryan is like still paralyzed, so she gets a knife and kind of just hides because she made a bunch of noise. I don't even know. This episode is also shot very confusingly, where they have a fight later and it's shot in a way that it makes it look like she's like teleporting around the house. I don't know where the stairwell is in connection to the kitchen because it seems like they're just jumping around and I can't tell who's who and where's what. The fight scenes are just incredibly obscure because I feel like they don't know how to do a fight scene to get her out of this situation, so they just shot it in the most confusing way possible. So Black Lightning's sister got fucked up by the freeze gun and 3 of her friends died, so Black Lightning hates the mom because she thinks that the mom is involved with these experiments being done in her company in secret. The mom, though, denies even knowing her employees were doing that. Ryan makes it to the basement. The guy just takes so long to open the fucking door, even though he has all of the weapons to open the door, but they need to make the scene longer because they need some intense shit about how she's not gonna reach the EpiPens in time. Asian is doing some CSI shit on all of the corpses to help solve the crimes. She found some motorcycle grease from the bullwhip, and Alice has noticed all of the plants in the background of her hospital. Asian goes off about how plants are better than humans, and she's clearly being affected by the thing that she was infected with.
Because plants are smarter than humans. They're resilient, they're intuitive, they give back more than they take. Gosh.
Alice's delusions are back, and Alice tells the audience about what her character arc is going to be as well, because we needed to know about that information and she had to tell us instead of show us.
Inmates of Arkham, the experimental meds, the general mise-en-scène of captivity. I assumed it was the asylum that was making me crazy. You're talking to the girl who convinced herself that 12 years of sewing skin masks was a fancy tea party.
Asian has no sympathy for her and uses more plant language to tell her to fuck off. Alice then figures out that Asian is infected by Poison Ivy. That took really quick, didn't it? Pigman then starts using Ryan as a hostage. Some confusing shit happens where the rest of the family leaves the bunker to try and help her, but it turns out that she's not really knocked out and she was just pretending, so she really does have the meds and she makes them all inject themselves with it, and then they kill the Pigman and Marcus like enjoys killing him a bit too much. Then it cuts to Alice, who finds out that some stupid bitch that's unrelated is using the bullwhip, so this entire plot about a Catwoman copycat is irrelevant now. So I don't know. The vines that Poison Ivy leaves around only die when they have infected someone. So the fact that Alice has swiped the ivy from Asian's office and it's dead means that she is infected after all. Ryan decides to talk to her mom about some drama and secrets and whatnot. The mom reveals that Marcus is sick because the Joker like shoved a plug up his ass on the bus once and turned him into a psycho, and because his brain is fucked up. And after that run-in he did some really shitty things, like he killed his dad by putting peanut butter in his burger or something. And the mom has been using the secret research to try and find a way to make him normal again, or at least freeze him until the day where they have a cure for this kind of thing and he can come back to normal. But she had no idea that the employees were secretly doing shit for the villains, and it wasn't really her. She's not a bad person after all. Did he make a fucking frowny face? No, you did not just do that. So, the next episode. Some kids at a park discover a stinky shed, and in the shed is a bunch of vines and some dude trapped in honey. He wakes up and vomits bees. There's this really bad actor who shows up to give snarky exposition on this detective every single time she shows up. I hate this guy.
Freak patrols on the scene. Her ambiguous yet far-reaching power supersedes ours.
She then sends the victim off to Asian to get some medical shit done and gets really dramatic. There's also some evil flowers involved. Ivy's new host did this. I wonder who that is. Alice also didn't want to say anything about who this new host is because, I don't know, she wants to use her to be evil or some shit. I also find it really strange that Ryan or Luke or any of Asian's friends didn't find it really weird that she's like looking like she's gonna pass out a lot. She obsessively drinks water and then seems to be really out of it. She's having these weird memory blanks. She's filling her office with so many plants that she can't even put any more patients in there because there's just too many plants. She's getting erratic. Like, are they not noticing any of this? Ryan lives with her. Why is she not noticing any of this? Why is Alice the one making a big deal of it? Just fucking go there and figure it out. So they go more about the attacker and trying to think of who it could be, and Ryan goes on about some family drama, even though there's more important shit going on, and then she specifically brings it up and then doesn't say anything like, oh yeah, it's really bad, I can't tell you though, but like, there's like some really big shit going on, I can't tell you though, it's a secret though, you don't know, but I know. Why on earth would she not tell them about this? Like, if you have a psycho brother on the loose, you're not keeping anyone safe by not telling your best friends who have knowledge to help you out what's going on. All you're doing is making the plot more complicated. There is no reason to not tell them. And then Black Lightning storms off because she is like, you're protecting your mum over my sister who almost died, and she has every reason to be angry because Ryan's being an idiot. Alice then licks the corpse because she's Alice, and then she tries to get information out of Asian about how much she knows about her infection, but in a way that doesn't really help anything. The scene is just annoying to watch. These are two of the most annoying people in the cast. Asian is basically becoming evil and doesn't remember when she's Ivy because she's having these blackouts that are slowly melding together with her actual memories. So the dude wakes up and gets scared because he saw her face when she attacked him, so it basically confirms that something's up with her. Not only that, but this happens immediately after the suspicions that Alice has, so the comical timing is back once again and we have no room to breathe or even think about it for more than 5 seconds before something happens to confirm it. Asian then immediately goes and tells the rest of the gang about what she just found out, which is a good move. I'm glad that she did that, unlike some people. She tries to explain that she is infected by poison ivy in the most annoying way possible. They're trying to make some comedy bit about how these guys are thinking that she's coming out as gay because she can't fucking speak.
Wait, you're coming out? What? No. Well, in a way, I'm not coming out. Because I'm not gay.
Use your words, you fucking idiot. She could just say, okay, so this one time I got fucked up by this rash that I have and I didn't know what it was, and I woke up in the park and I had no memories and I'm not thinking straight lately. I'm drinking way too much water and getting out of it to the point where I'm having these big time losses because I can't remember anything. The victim straight up said that I'm the one who did it, and his eyes were pretty wide open and he knew for certain that it was me. And Alice also found a sample of ivy from my office, and it only goes dead after it infects someone, and I have confirmed that it infected me like I did in the previous scene where I was talking to Alice. There's a fuck ton of evidence that you could say, but she just says it in the dumbest way where they don't even take her seriously for a little while until they have to. She then handcuffs herself to the thing so that she can stay inside and they can keep track of her in case she blacks out and becomes Ivy again, which is a good idea, but they're just looking at her like she's crazy. So they snark a lot and it's unbearable, but to summarize the scene so you don't get a brain aneurysm, they need information on the freeze ray that hit Black Lightning's sister, and that's a whole plot that's been going on for Black Lightning, and meanwhile they just realize that Asian is going psycho, so they need to try and figure out what's going on with her. So these two plot points are going on at the same time and the cast is feeling very conflicted and out of it. That's what this entire scene was. It didn't need to be that way, just, you know. They keep mush-mouthing the name of the secret group that does the secret experiments and is stealing the weapons that I don't...
The Black Glove Society.
Never heard of Black Glove. A Black Glove.
Blad Glove? Blad Clove? Black Load? Mike Love? No, it's Black Glove. For reference, it's Black Glove. They're so evil that even if you say that you're gonna look into them, you're gonna wind up dead. I guess they're like the CIA or something. So Asian was on a dating app when she met the victim, and she didn't even remember being on that app because her alter ego made her be on the app, and she decided to kill the guy because he wasn't that into her. So Alice then begins to make some comments about it that no one cares about. They then find out that she went to a hardware store and then she went to a vacant lot afterwards, so she fucked up someone else and they have to find out who because she can't remember doing that. They find one of the previous hitman weirdos who is in Black Glove and he's under a potted plant. Now I have several problems with this scene that I need to talk about.
One of you should have noticed.
The fertilizer bag is empty, but the ground's not disturbed. Nothing was planted. Why was Mary here?
Firstly, Alice and Ryan show up in their vacant lot. They do not see anything else besides a bunch of tools that are now used and empty and an upturned potted plant. There is nothing else here to catch your eye. And to prove this, Ryan immediately picks up the fertilizer and sees that it's empty. The only other thing that she could even look at is the potted plant that is upside down, so something is clearly underneath it. It is upside down. Why does she then immediately pick up the fertilizer and go, well, there's nothing else here, so we might as well leave? And Alice is the one who then has to go and look under the potted plant because she is the only one who's using her brain and says, well, obviously, if those are the only two things in the parking lot, it is obviously under the potted plant. We need to pick that up and check immediately. Why is she the one who figures it out and then Ryan is the one who was ready to just go home because she picked up the plastic bag and there was nothing in it? How is she that dumb? It's probably a small thing, but it's just so dumb. Okay, so they keep him in the dungeon under the Batcave while they question Asian about why she did what she did, and she doesn't really get it, but they come up with the reason. The reason being that Asian is basically trying to fuck up people that she thinks wronged her in some way. So the guy who rejected her, she got jealous and like tried to fuck him up. And this guy is directly connected to the experiments that led Black Lightning's sister to get fucked up. So Asian knows this, tracked him down, and then tried to fuck him up. But then the detective shows up to be boring, and Alice fills the rest of the cast in on the lesbian drama with Poison Ivy. Alice's delivery is really fucked up too.
Evil scientist experiment. Obviously, Pam's metamorphosis into Little Shop of Horrors got in the way of sexy time.
Then the detective just tells Ryan about this anyway, so like everyone knows about the drama now. One thing that I will say, this episode and the last episode do not have any pop music in them, which is actually pretty good. These episodes are like still bad, but they're still, I'd say that they're pretty near the top of some of the better episodes in the series. Hopefully that trend continues. They try to figure out what triggers Poison Ivy to come out of Asian, and she says that she's seeing double, so they give her some water. Do you not think that maybe water might be one of those triggers because she drinks so much of it, so maybe you should hold off on that and observe her for a little bit? I don't know, it's just her life on the line, maybe you should be careful about that. Black Lightning then gets angry and she finds out about them keeping the assassin guy in the dungeon and she gets all cranky. Ryan then shows up while she's questioning him. Black Lightning is such an inadequate interrogator that she fucking kills the guy by accident, and then she gets angry at Ryan about it, like, it's your fault I killed this guy before he can have any of our questions answered. Wow, convenient. While this is happening, Alice is all like, Ryan is keeping secrets and prioritizing her secrets over her best friend being infected. Isn't that weird? It's super weird. She probably doesn't care about you. She told me that she thinks you're a big poo-poo. Like some high school level shit, but Asian actually kind of falls for it. She sees that her infection is awakening again and she hits Luke because they just left them all here. They left weapons within her reach even though they don't know what's fucking her up and making her become poison ivy. The way that she acts is so bad when she's trying to be evil. She looks either horny or constipated. Weird version of both. And then Alice sidles up to her and like whispers to her and starts touching her and gets way too close to her. I think I've seen a video like that before. Alice had figured out that sunlight was her trigger somehow, doing something to make the sunlight happen because she wants to break Asian out and the two of them to go free together and do evil things. How the fuck does the sunlight trigger work? Surely more people would have noticed that she was acting weird, including all of her friends, because they've seen her during sunlight hours. Like, how does that work exactly? Is it sunlight in the room or is it direct sunlight? What if she's out and about on an overcast day? Does that count as sunlight because she's directly in sunlight? How the fuck does that work? Is it UV lights or is it just directly from the sun?
This number with a possible tip about a poison ivy sighting?
This acting is going to kill me. So Alice and Asian go to the botanical gardens and Renee goes there and gets confronted by them. After some padding dialogue, Asian decides that she's gonna chew out Renee for burying poison ivy on the ground, and she's clearly acting really weird, but Renee at first is like, "What's going on? Why are you here?" So Renee has some drama conversations.
What a homing pigeon for the broken-hearted, Ray. Into the leaves and follow as it slithers its way to her secret burial site. Did you use that soft, gentle tone to lure Poison Pam into captivity?
I think I've seen a video like this before.
What do you think she thinks about down there?
I think I've seen a video like this before. So she basically talked about how Poison Ivy is still kind of conscious, and through Asian, she can say that she hates Renee for what Renee did to her. And then she flies away, so I guess Renee's dead now. Luke and Ryan go there in time, and Luke is in his suit. Took the safety off of it now, so I guess that's sorted out.
I feel like you're being watched.
They're obviously being watched because they're surrounded by plants, but they don't seem to understand. Asian sets a trap, and the effects are pretty bad. But after she knocks them out, they just get up again. Like, what did that do? She's still there. So, like, she's just standing around. Does she just wait for them to wake up? What was the point of that? So she's acting like she's all empowered, like she's like, I am blah, 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 blah.
You didn't find me. I found myself.
She also steals Luke's AI by just ripping it out of his helmet. You can do that? Okay. Ryan then attacks her in the nick of time, and Asian is still mush-mouthing her way through the dialogue. She's really having a big pity party as well. Friendship is magic, guys.
Mary, come with me. I'm done with Team Spirit. It's time you heard my voice for once, loud and clear.
So the cops start showing up because somebody called the cops, and Ryan says that the cops are useless because remember, that's a thing. She just leaves Ryan and Luke there in the vines again. Like, why didn't you do that the first time? And then she's gone. And the detective just shows up as well. Like, what happened to you? Did she just leave you there? What are you doing? What happened to you? What was the point of any of this?
Your best friend is currently the most dangerous person in Gotham.
I'm sorry, what? Carrot Lee?
Your best friend is currently the most dangerous person in Gotham.
Carrot Lee? Who is Carrot Lee? Oh, you're trying to say currently, but you mush-mouthed, and then they left it in. Did you not want to do another take? So Ryan then goes off about how she can't juggle her personal life and the bat stuff, the tailors all the time, and Asian feels angry about being the third wheel because her drama... You know what, Asian? Your drama just isn't that important, okay? People are dying. Unfortunately, the annoying pop music comes back and the episode quality just degrades all over again.
Yeah, but instead of smoking blunts in the pool house, we're planning a corporate merger behind her back.
Marcus kindly expositions that they're doing a corporate merger behind their mom's back. But Ryan was actually working with the police to get him incapacitated so they could bring him to his mom's lab to freeze him. Can this music stop? It's awful. Fucking Rachel Maddow is back too. The last episodes weren't actually that bad, but this one is back to formula. It's like we never left. Black Lightning has been sleeping with the detective for some reason. She also finds out that Asian is a plant, because she's the last one to know, and Luke explains this in the worst exposition sentence possible.
Time she's fine, but when the sun comes up, the sweet and loving Mary that we know takes a backseat to a vegetation-wielding supervillain.
Ryan says that she told her mom about all of the plant stuff, and they're getting her to do an antidote to it because they know how to do that while they're freezing Marcus, because her helping to get Marcus under the control was something that she traded for having the plant sim thing. But they're not really having luck with any of it. Ryan defends her decision to not tell any of them about any of the shit with Marcus until now because she was taking them out of danger by doing so, but I call bullshit on that reasoning. They could have easily gone somewhere or met up with him not knowing he's a psycho, and then what would have happened? If they had known, at least they would have been prepared if they saw him out and about. Her reasoning is completely fucking stupid. Also, Alice is gone and she's taken Asian with her to do stupid things. Remember, Alice has all those nanobots tracking her around, so they need to find her and find Asian with her. Asian wakes up and asks what happened, and Alice basically gives a non-answer and they just kind of do their thing. She apparently threw her phone in the river and did some bad shit, and then she throws up in like 10 seconds. The way that this is cut, she goes into the bathroom and then she immediately comes out of it. Like, there's no time in between.
Trust me, sister. It's nicer than the one in Arkham.
Alice then says that she's gonna help Asian be in control of her powers and awaken her to the dark side. And she also mentions that she has a bunch of nano shit still floating around in her blood that she needs to get out so that they can't track her anymore, and this requires a blood transfusion that Asian has to perform. Asian chooses Alice over her friends because she's scared that her friends are gonna lock her up in Arkham because, you know, she's a fucking psycho. They immediately then start fucking with the trackers. Like, this took like 2 seconds. And here's the thing that I don't get about that. The nanos are, there's like, let's say like 10,000 of them in her blood. So she bleeds and then the tracker thinks that that's another Alice. So they have like 17 Alices going off at once because they smeared her blood on a bunch of passing cars. That makes no sense because wouldn't the nanos ultimately point to where the most of them are grouped? Alice is the one that has tens of thousands of them, and then let's say that a blood splash on a car has like 50. Wouldn't the tracker be like, okay, there's 50 over here, but there's like, all of the other ones are still centered in this mass location, so this is where she is. All of the other ones are just little bits of her blood. Because would that not reflect every single time that she has bled in any fight at all? Wouldn't they have known that this would have happened? Because otherwise, what is the point of the nanos if she can easily just bleed somewhere and then have that go off somewhere? Like if she gathered a bunch of frogs, bled on the frogs, and then just let them out all over the countryside, would there just be a million Alices out there? What happens when the blood dries? Why does the blood drying mean that the nanos don't work anymore? What's going on with that? It doesn't make any sense to have the nanos tracker when they don't show which of the biggest clump of them there is. And why did Alice not figure out how to do that prior? Why did she not just bleed everywhere? Why did it take Asian to tell her how the nanos work? She could have easily done that herself, and then she could have gone to some like black market doctor for a blood transfusion and then killed him to stop the trail coming to her, and then she could have just escaped. So Asian has then stolen everything besides the blood from a nearby hospital. The blood was locked up so she couldn't get that. But they did all of this very, very fast. She is now on CCTV at the hospital, I'm sure, but I'm sure that they gave up scanning all of the cameras in Gotham because they're just, you know, running around trying to find her now. She also got coffee because she needed the caffeine and used some cash, but I guess she's on CCTV there too, which means you could find her. So they go to a bar because they need O-negative blood, and they're gonna pick up some dudes and test their blood and then see which one of them has the right blood type and then, you know, drain him. After creeping out all of the customers and almost being kicked out, Asian magically figures out how to use her mind control shit and starts mind controlling the dudes to try and get them to tell what blood type they are and testing them. Also, Black Lightning reveals that she has been sleeping around with a detective, and she said that they're gonna kill Asian if she starts going crazy with her powers. Okay. Marcus is looking real fucky. He doesn't look too good. Why is he awake while they're freezing him? He gets all fucky and lures the mum closer by acting like he's emotional, but he reveals that he's a full psychopath with no emotions now, and he starts breaking out immediately because there's no security in this lab other than the random technicians walking around. He just gets out of there instantly. He goes into the Wayne Industries building and acts like a fucking child. This bodyguard isn't even watching for the pen. What kind of bodyguard are you? Horrible pop music over there fighting. Luke gets fucked up. That's it. That's all you need to know about the fight. The fight's useless. Asian finds a blood type after being awkward with him, and back in the lab tech is dead and the cure is gone. I guess all of the information that they would have had to make the cure is also gone because they only have one copy of it. So Marcus is basically the Joker light now. That's what he is. He's just the Joker and he's really bad at it. His acting is horrible, overdoes everything, and he makes the worst quips. Theater kid style.
I'm sad face because my long lost sister stabbed me in the back. Me and you against the world, sis.
Faggot.
He stole the antidote from the lab, of which there is no backup. He wants Ryan to step down and make him the leader of Wayne Industries and take all of her money. Aren't there cameras in this building specifically to see what's happening? Can't they show that she signed it under duress? Like, that he's forcing her to and saying that she's being threatened or something? You could show this in court and immediately get your company investigated, right? So, you know, she signs it and then Marcus walks off and Luke narrowed it down to 4 trackers that Alice could be, so they have to try and pick one of them and chase after them. I hope she stays evil forever. That's more fun than normal shit. And then there's some mopey shit and they track where Asian is using coffee. She used a loyalty card. Is she that dumb? She said that she didn't use cash because they didn't want to track her, but then she just scanned her loyalty card at the cafe. So they finally got the blood from the pub. Also, Asian starts scaring Alice because she's getting more evil and she's like, why don't I just kill you right now? But Asian then decides that she wants to be on the run with Alice because she doesn't want to be alone and, you know. The mom also gets a call from Marcus and says, check the news tomorrow, like he's posting on fucking 4chan or some shit. They do this transfusion in less than 20 minutes. They do it in like 10 minutes, and here's how I know. Batwoman had 40 minutes until sunrise, and that is the deadline because there's 40 minutes until Asian wakes up as the evil lady again. And it must have taken her at least 20 minutes to try and travel all the way here to figure this shit out. In between that time, it seems that Asian was trying to prep and do the blood transfusion, and then it's still not light enough yet to be sunrise, so there still must be at least 10 minutes left. So they did the entire blood transfusion into a bunch of wine bottles using botched equipment, and Alice is not feeling any different. She's not drowsy, she's not weak, she's nothing. She's just sitting there when they took all of her blood out of her. How do you even know that all of the nanomachines are gone from your blood? How could you possibly know that? How could it work that quickly? How could you— This is worse than when Joseph Joestar got fucking revived in the ambulance using Dio's magic bullshit vampire blood, but at least that was magic bullshit vampire blood. I can understand that a little bit. But then Batwoman finally tracks them down and she says, we have the cure, and Asian's like, I don't want the cure, fuck off. They leave her in the vines and go off as, you know, crime duo. Ryan then goes and tells the rest of the team about what happened, and she's really mopey and says that that means that they have to give up on her now, I guess, so bye. Ryan is also not doing anything about the fact that Marcus is all over the company now. Like, you could do something about this. You could show that he killed your bodyguard and made you sign the company over under duress. Marcus also makes an idiot of himself by being a theater kid in front of the news, and I hate it. I hate the pop music. I hate it. Make it stop, please. Asian also made a whore costume for herself to be a supervillain as well. But, as you can tell, the arc of evil whore Asian starts now, which by now I mean the next video, but it's not gonna last very long because there's no next season. You know, I love life sometimes. I love life. Life is great.
Schnipp, schnapp! Ah, ah, da, ja! Ich bin Schnappi, das Krokodil! Ha? Komm aus Ägypten, direkt am Nil! Ja? Und Schnappi ist so verletzlich! Denn wenn ich schnapp, den fresse ich! Zum Schnappen bin ich immer